Hi, my name is Lavita. M Million Women March, Cleveland, March, October the 1st, 2016, here in Cleveland, Ohio, to fight resisting police brutality against black women. Video is today. Um, Basically, we're going to talk about some of the things that in August 9th, police killing of 18-year-old Michael Brown sparks a previous smoldering nationwide movement against police violence and more broadly anti-black racism, as Mike Brown, Eric Garner, and Tamir Rice have become household names and faces. Today is March the 12th, and even still a strike at a black people, the gazebo where Tamir Rice was shot, will be torn down. We're looking at how the police is destroying blacks. We're looking at the violence instead of treatment. Police killing of black women suffering from a mental health crisis and the absence of adequate mental health resources for the vast majority of black communities. A law enforcement officers serve as the first and only responders to mental health crisis experienced by black women. Police officers, however, are not mental health professionals. Police officers are not mental health professionals and often lack the skills and training necessary to handle these baffling situations. This lack of training compounded with take a charge at all cost attitude on part of some of the officers has led to the tragic loss of life of those who the police were called to serve in some interactions. Black women experiencing a mental health crisis are perceived as superhuman and posing a deadly threat rather than being afforded compassion and support. Rather than being viewed as a woman in need, they are instead met with deadly force. The fact that black women are rarely viewed as a woman in distress can cost them their lives. As example, Tanisha Anderson in Cleveland, Ohio, November 13, 2014, the family of a 37-year-old Tanisha Anderson reached out for assistance. They called 911 to escort their daughter to St. Vincent Charity Medical Hospital. Tanisha voluntarily got into the police car, but then grew anxious and tried to run away from the vehicle. A police officer then performed a takedown, and as you know, there are various sides of stories, but moved her, slammed her head against the concrete sidewalk, and caused her to lose consciousness. He placed his knee on her back and handcuffed her, and as she faced down on the pavement, she was pronounced dead on arrival at the hospital. The Cuyahoga County medical examiner, Cassandra Johnson, explained that as long as she was on her medication, she wouldn't know anything was wrong with her. And so why are the courts not examining not just the autopsy, but the video autopsy cam on and witness statements of Cuyahoga County medical examiner ruling his death as a homicide? Why is that record struck down? Johnson explained that despite false media narratives, Anderson was not violent and that it was the behavior of the police in isolating her from her family that made her feel panicky. The officer refused to permit Anderson's family to comfort her, and as she laying down exposed on the snow-covered street, Anderson's family had filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the city and two of his police officer, Johnson. They shared Tanisha was always making her laugh as her family remembers her. And as her family remembers her, and she always has something funny to say. We were looking at other instances where death while in custody, black women as superhuman and incapable of feeling pain. Why women can't feel pain without being targeted as a surveillance or case study or police or death while in custody. In 2014 study in social psychological and personality science found that white people were more likely to implicitly, you're going to have to be still behind me, and explicitly superhuman black people, and the content of law enforcement incarceration. This superhuman troop can lead black women to be denied help despite pleading for assistance and left to suffer in unbearable circumstances while in police custody. This failure to assist difficult to imagine a middle class while women involved was no doubt informed by narratives that frame black women as somehow superhuman and who as a result don't feel pain in the same ways as their white counterparts. Alexia Christian was killed April 13th in Atlanta, Georgia. The details of this case are still emerging. However, what is known is that a police officer in Atlanta was investigating a stolen vehicle car and found 26-year-old Alexia Christian inside the vehicle. The officers arrested Christian and placed her in the back seat of their patrol car. At the point, they fatally shot her. They claimed that she escaped from the handcuffs and shot at the officer with a stolen gun. For reasons unknown, the officer claimed they failed to fully search her while putting her in the car. Kayam Livingston, July 24, 2013, Brooklyn, New York. NYPD officers left Kayam Livingston in a holding cell after they arrested her for fighting with her grandmother. While in custody, she complained of cramps and diarrhea, but officers ignored her pleas for help for hours and panicked. After 20 hours in the cell, police finally called for medical assistance when they noticed that Kayam was suffering apparent seizures. She was pronounced dead upon arrival at the hospital. A medical examiner found that the cause of death was an alcoholic-induced seizure. She was 37-year-old and a mother of two. In 2013, Livingston filed a wrongful death lawsuit in Brooklyn Federal Jail. Guilt by association when black women are killed as collateral damage. We know in the age of mass incarceration and the war on drugs, black women are often killed even when they are not the main targets of police as collateral damage. While this pattern of behavior is real and deadly troubling, contrary to popular discourse, which frames virtually all police violence against black women as the product of simply being next to the real target, black men is by no means the only or even primary way in which black women experience state-sanctioned violence. Rekia Boyd, December 6, 2012, Houston, Texas. An off-duty cop, Detective Dante Servin, Servin, fatally shot 22-year-old Rekia Boyd in the back of the head. Boyd were standing in an alley with her friends when police officer Detective Servin told them to quiet down. Words were exchanged with one of Boyd's friends, and Servin then fired 5 rounds from his gun into the group who had their backs turned to him at the time. Boyd was left mortally wounded in the streets as police threatened a friend who sought to comfort her with the rest. Boyd died within 24 hours of being shot. Servin continued to work for the Chicago Police Department. Why are these police not arrested, convicted, tried, and sent to prison? Why? That's our protest. The Million Women March wants justice. Charged with involuntary manslaughter and reckless discharge of a firearm on November 25th. His trial was held in April 2015, and the judge issued a direct verdict effectively clearing Servin of all charges. In 2015, the city of Chicago awarded Boyd's family $4.5 million wrongful death. Why do police officers believe that that's not justice? The settlement money. Iyanna Stanley Jones, May 16, Detroit, Michigan. Police officer Joseph Weekly shot and killed 7-year-old Iyanna Stanley Jones in her sleep during a raid on her grandmother's home. Weekly claimed that he pulled the trigger accidentally during a struggle with the girl's grandmother, Matilda Jones. Jones claimed that she was reaching out to protect her grandmother, and another officer testified that there was no struggle over the weapon. Weekly was tried twice and cleared of all charges, most recently in January 2015. Why are these police officers being cleared? It's why the Million Women March is fighting for justice, that these officers do not be cleared as are not cleared and are arrested. Some of the resources you will find is Police Violence and Rapes of Black Women in the United States by Black Women's Blueprint, 2014, Say Her Name, a webinar on Black women and police violence by African American Policy Forum. We're working around policies that will make changes, small changes around this arrest. We need to make provisions for these offenses. Arrest Justice Black Women Violence, and another resource, American Prison Nation by Bethy Richard, New York. There are more resources that you will see as we continue to talk about the police brutality against Black women and some of the things that we recommend as building up for justice in the Million Women March and the state violence against Black women. And we like to address some of the statistics, if I may, and building the work for activists like me who have called for increased attentions to the Black woman experience of policing over the past 2 decades. These stories that we are telling you are true, and we're together. We're informing the community to confront the police abuse of Black women, and even some of the Black women. All Black people experience racial profiling while driving while Black. Black men as well as women are commonly stopped as minor traffic violations serve as a pretext criminal investigation. In the worst case scenario, allegations of more serious traffic violence, speaking, failing to pull over, or driving a stolen car can turn exceptionally deadly when race perception of Black drivers as inherently dangerous lead the police to use unworded lethal justice. Victims of such encounters are typically imagined to men, but Black women also pay the ultimate penalty for driving infractions committed with the police. We know one case is Maya Hall, March 30th, 2030 in Baltimore, Maryland. Maya Hall was a Black transgender woman killed by national security police week before Freddie Gray's case grabbed national headlines. Alleged to be driven a stolen car, she took a wrong turn into the national security admissions property and was shot to death by officers after the car she was driving crashed into a security gate and police cruiser. No effort to use non-lethal force was made, even though there was no threat to the facility. Neither person in the car was armed. Friends remembered her as a kind and caring woman struggling to make ends meet in the face of pervasive entrenched structure discrimination against Black transgender women. We know another driving while Black case is Natasha Keena, February 8, 2015 in Fairfax County, Virginia. 37-year-old Natasha Keena died in the hospital several days after she was tasered by officer in the Fairfax County Jail. McKenna, who weighed 130 pounds, was restrained with handcuffs behind her back, legs shackled, and masked when the sheriff deputy shocked her 4 times. She suffered mental health illness. Officer claimed she was being uncooperative, which led them to restrain and then taser her. Within minutes of being tasered, Keena stopped breathing. She died a few days later. We know that police poverty, police brutality at intersections of gender, race, and class. Black women's encounters with police often take place against a backdrop of disproportionate poverty among Black women. Overall, Black women are poorer than Black men and white women. Even in the face of economic recovery in America, Black women continue to face grave socioeconomic disparities and are the only group whose unemployment rate failed to decrease in 2014. Consequently, many Black women are abused and killed by police and are among the low-income and homeless people have increasingly been targeted for intensified police under broken windows, policing practice, and the policing of poverty, criminalization of poor people when cooled with negative stereotypes about black women may result not only in police harassment but also in police killings. So the Million Women March continue to organize, and I want to say that any person that don't want to see a million women get healed or get informed is definitely the enemy. And this is why we have a demand list that we demand the firing and prosecution of police officers involved in unjustifiable killings of unarmed civilian and use of excessive force and violation of citizen constitutional right. Police brutality is not an isolated problem. It's a historical problem with roots that are deep in the social fabric of this county. It must be seen without broader context of racial and economic injustice and of equality. Police brutality is an ongoing, growing, and deadly problem in the United States and includes the unwarranted, unjustified killing of unarmed, the use of excessive force, the violation of people's constitution, racist discrimination practices, criminal activity, corruption, and misconduct increase, and militarization of police force, and the failure of criminal justice system to hold police accountable is weak. We demand an immediate halt to all efforts to militarize the police in this country. We demand immediate termination of federal government 1033 program that provides military equipment, and we demand a refund for all the video cams that prove no case, and hardware to local police forces. We demand every case that was lost be refunded to the state, be returned. All the money should be returned. We demand that. My contact number is 216-410-9830, and we have a protest coming up, rally, because we know the 13th of June. 2016, that's 3 o'clock Monday, June 13th, 84th and Cedar in Cleveland, Ohio, a rally for justice. In 2013, of all the men stopped by police in New York, 10.9% were white, 55.7% were black, 29.3% Latino. In 2013, for all the women stopped by police in New York, 13.4 white, 53.4 black, and 27.5% Latinos. Thank you. My name is Lavina Murray, the Million Women March founder. Have a good day.